this bag here is the most expensive video game I have ever brought. It is part of a bundle of PlayStation 1, Gamecube and even a Mega Drive game. And I reiterate, it is the single most expensive game I have ever brought.
Pick up! Building the Games World! Rush Trips! Live Game Hunting! Oh yeah!
Hello again folks and welcome back to another pickups video, and that's right, I have brought the most expensive game I've ever brought into my collection. But not only that, we have loads of other pickups, so you have to stick around to find out what that game is until the very end. Just before we jump into the pickups, I want to remind you folks watching at home to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and also to subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5 and I want you along for the ride. And also go into that little box below and comment. I love speaking to you folks, so let me know, sound off in the comments down below. I'm going to start this week's video with a little bit of a collector's tip, and that is to get yourselves the Hot UK Deals app on your mobile phone. It is the best way to pick up cheap game deals because you will be the first in the know when those deals go live. And one of the deals you have to be super quick on is Amazon Prime flash deals. These games are super cheap, but they're normally in really limited numbers and you have to be super quick. So I picked up a couple of these recently, the first one being Disneyland Adventures. Yes, not the most exciting game of all time. Yes, it's on Games Pass, but it's not the worst game of all time. And if you're after achievements, this one is super easy to get achievements. But I paid just £1.49 for this game. £1.49 for a brand new Xbox One physical game. Yes, I could play it on Games Pass, but you know me, I am a physical collector. At the opposite end of the spectrum, I also managed to pick up Hades for £7. Brand new. Yes, again it is on Games Pass, but this is an absolutely fantastic game. If you have not played it, you owe yourselves to play this game. It is absolutely fantastic. It is kind of one of those roguelike, you die, you get better, you die, you get better, and eventually you'll escape Hades. Next up, we have one of my very favourite things to get, and that is boxed and complete Nintendo 64 games. It's just something so nostalgic for me about opening up a Nintendo 64 box. I just love it so much. And I managed to get these free games for £30 for the free plus delivery off eBay, which I'm pretty happy with. You know, these games are getting harder and harder to find, and I just want to build my boxed N64 collection. So first off, we have F1 Pole Position 64. And yeah, it's probably not my favourite Formula 1 game on the N64, but as you can see, it's in pretty good condition. And all of these games are totally boxed and complete. You see there might be a little bit of wear around these. What I do then is I put them in box protectors, and that does really make these look a lot nicer. Next up, we have one of the most, I think, kind of underappreciated puzzle games of the modern time, Tetrisphere. You take Tetris and put it into a 3D kind of area, and the condition of this one is really good. Right, it's a really nice one. I just love the kind of the classic only on Nintendo 64 logo, and it does, I don't think it has the price unless it's $122.98. I presume this must have been from a catalogue or some description. And finally we have FIFA 64. Again, not the most exciting boxed N64 game of all time, but you know, this was a launch title, and one of the things I want to do over time is to get a complete boxed Nintendo 64 launch title collection. So really happy to add these three into the collection for £30. Next up, we have some Dreamcast games, and to be fair, I bought these off eBay and I did snipe them last minute, which means I didn't read the description. These are all being sold as untested. Now, some of these I have changed the boxes on, but this is the kind of condition these were in to begin with. So this is a game I already have in my collection, so I'm not really too concerned of how damaged this is. But if you know Dreamcast games, you know these boxes are so incredibly flimsy. So I have changed some of these boxes out. So first of all, we have a classic on the Dreamcast, Sega Bass Fishing. And in case this one is in fairly good condition for a Dreamcast case, you know, the front comes off, but you know, it's an absolute classic one. I would really like to get the kind of fishing rod controller that goes with this game as well. The next game is Four Wheel Thunder, a classic arcade racing game for the Dreamcast, which isn't really surprising, you know, given Sega's history of amazing arcade racing games. And yeah, this one again is in fairly decent condition. You know, it's a pretty low value game, but happy to add it to my Dreamcast collection. Did you know that there was a Grand Theft Auto game on a Sega console? This was the first and quite possibly the last Grand Theft Auto game ever to be released on a Sega console. Grand Theft Auto 2. And I always find this cover weird. It's not the cover I kind of think of when I think about GTA 2. And this one I have put into a really nice case. It is in really, really good condition. It has the booklet. Let me know in the comments down below, did this copy of Grand Theft Auto come with a map of the city? I know most of the PlayStation 1 games came with a map of the city, so it'd be interesting to know if this one did. So these are the 3 games I got, and as I said, the description did say they were untested. So I went ahead and tested Sega Bass Fishing. It did not work. I went ahead and tested 4x4 Thunder. It did not work. I went ahead and tested Grand Theft Auto 2, and it did not work. But then I tested a game from my own collection, which I knew worked, and it did not work. So this is part of the thing with having older consoles. They do stop working. So I guess, as has happened to many Dreamcasts before it, the laser has gone in my Dreamcast. So RIP my Dreamcast. Here we go then. This bag contains the most expensive game I've ever brought. And I did buy it as part of a bundle. All of the games were individually priced. And this is one of the best things about this deal. All of the games in this bag were sold to me at the CEX trade-in value price. This was a fellow collector who was looking to sell some games, has had them listed for a while, was getting a lot of lowball offers, and was about to take them into CX and offered me to buy a load at the trade-in value, which, if you know, is basically bottom dollar. And I had to get as many of these games as possible, and I'm going to go through these all with you now. First off then, we have this one lone Mega Drive game, and it is Spider-Man for the Mega Drive. You know, it's not in too bad a condition. Sadly, it is not complete. It is just the cartridge and the game, but you know, I'm just always happy to add some more decent Mega Drive games to my collection. Next up, we have a small selection of PlayStation 1 games. I'm always looking to add decent conditioned, boxed and complete PlayStation games to my collection. You know, it's a console that my collection is surprisingly large, and yes, I will be doing a full collection video very, very soon. So first off, we have the Phantom Menace. And this is a bit of a weird one, because when you turn it on the side, it says Jedi Power Battles. And on the back, it has the back for Jedi Power Battles. The thing is as well, he was also selling Jedi Power Battles. And this, it's just the only way he's ever known the game. Just never realised. So let me know in the comments down below. If you own Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, let me know. Does it have a weird back cover? Next up, we have a couple of classic WWF games. And fun fact, WWF Warzone on the PlayStation 1 was the first wrestling thing I ever saw in my entire life. I'd never seen wrestling. I'd never played a wrestling game. This was the game that got me into wrestling before I'd even watched wrestling, because I just loved the game that much. Both of these are pretty low value games, but you know, these are more, if nothing else, just upgrades to my copies, as these are in really, really nice condition. Next up, we have Theme Park World, and this game, I think, might have one of the thickest manuals I've ever seen. Like, look at that, it's like the size of a piece of bread. Yeah, it's a classic kind of game where you make your theme park really good, especially if you have the mouse for the PlayStation 1. With these last 2 PlayStation 1 games, I did take a bit of a punt on these, as I didn't really know too much about these 2 titles. So first off, we have Wacky Races. I used to love watching this cartoon, so kind of picking that one up was a bit of a no-brainer. And a game which holds a reasonable amount of value, Bugs Bunny Lost in Time. This one's in really nice condition. Again, it is fully complete, and I was actually surprised at how much this game is worth now, but it's always cool to add some of these more obscure titles to the PlayStation 1 collection. Next up, we have some Gamecube games, and I will always buy cheap Gamecube games. I just love boosting my Gamecube collection. I think it's just harder to find games out in the wild for the Gamecube, and if I can get them cheap and build the collection, that is a bonus. So all these games, as you can see on the side here, are pretty low trading. So I picked these up pretty cheap. First off, we have The Sims, absolute classic. What else is left is there really to say about The Sims? We have Shark Tale, must admit, a film I have no desire to really watch. Monsters Inc. Scream Arena, and finally the iconic Shrek 2. So, you know, not the most exciting games of all time, but to get these super cheap for the GameCube in 2022 is a nice surprise. Here we have some slightly more exciting GameCube games. We have Lord of the Rings, The Two Tower and Return of the King. two of the best multiplayer games you can get on the Gamecube. These are such good fun just to slam through the game with a friend sat on the couch just playing through these games. Sadly, these are not complete, but I'm just really happy to add these to my Gamecube collection. Next up, we have an absolutely iconic Star Wars game for the Gamecube, Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. This is such a good game. They just really do not make Star Wars games like they used to. Like, we just had no decent Star Wars games recently. We've had Fallen Order and that was it. But yeah, if you want to go back and play some classic Star Wars games, this is where it's at. We nearly got to the end of a video without a wrestling game in a Down the Games Man video, but we can't. It is Day of Reckoning 2 for the Gamecube, a rare WWE game that I have never played until now. This is also now the final WWE game that I needed for my Gamecube collection. So I have all of the wrestling games that I believe were released on the Gamecube. But let me know in the comments down below if you think there's a really obscure wrestling game I may not have played on the Gamecube. Here we go then, the final game, the most expensive game I have ever brought. So remember, this entire bundle was £180 and this game was £120 of that money. Any last guesses? It's on the Gamecube, it is a Pokemon game, it is of course Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. A Pokemon game I've never even played. I didn't really expect to be buying this anytime soon. It is such an expensive game. As you can see, this game is on sale at CX in a minute for a lot of money. So managing to get this for the trading price of £120, I'm severely thankful for the person who sold me these games. Like, I'm so glad I could get this before it was taken into CX. Unfortunately, this is not complete, but this is the crazy thing about this game. Even the Nintendo VIP points card is worth a ridiculous amount of money. If nothing else, this is the thing. I didn't want this because it's worth a lot of money. I want to get that out of the way now. I do not buy games for their monetary value. I bought this game because I want to play it. It's a Pokemon game on the Gamecube that I haven't played. And of course I want to play it. And the thing is with me, I like to have the physical game. I like to be able to look at the disc, the case, physically put it in the disc, in the console. So yeah, I'm super excited to probably finish recording this video and jump straight into this one. But yeah, definitely one of the crowning jewels of my entire collection. So there we have it, loads of amazing pickups and possibly one of the best games in my entire collection now. But let me know, what game do you think was the best one I added to my collection this time? And also let me know in the comments down below, what is the most you have ever paid for one game, a singular game? Let me know in the comments down below. I think there's gonna be some mad amounts in there. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, please subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. See y'all soon.